So now coming to the last section of our topic today is the treatment of hypopituitarism. So in case a patient comes up to the outpatient department and you've done your evaluation, you've taken a thorough history from the patient and you've done a series of tests and ultimately the patient has been diagnosed with hypopituitarism. So how are you going to treat this patient? The treatment of hypopituitarism usually depends upon the etiology, the causative factor of hypopituitarism, and the particular hormone that is deficient. So, we'll be treating the patient according to that. Other than that, there are a lot of medical and surgical interventions that are done, and this includes for the cases such as the pituitary masses, if there is any infiltrative diseases, and any carotid aneurysm. So, in these cases, any surgical intervention is done or any medical intervention is done. So now if we talk about the specific hormonal deficiency. So hypopituitarism, as you all know, that it includes the ACTH deficiency. So if there is a deficiency of this hormone, we could present the patient with hydrocortisone, which is also the cortisone level, increases the cortisone level. We have another option of the cortisone acetate and lastly prednisolone. So steroids have also proven to have a role in increasing the level of ACTH in patients with ACTH deficiency. If we talk about the thyroid stimulating hormone and that if it's decreased, if the patient has thyroid disease, if he is suffering from hypothyroidism, so the ultimate disease, the ultimate drug that is given to these patients is the levothyroxine. So levothyroxine is the only drug that is given to patients with hypothyroidism, and it is adjusted to around 25 to 50 micrograms per day. If we talk about the deficiency of the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone, so the different treatment options that are available for our patients are, if we talk about specifically the males, we can offer them with testosterone enthate. And then there is some skin patches that also have proven to have a lot of drastic effect. These are the testosterone patch. And if we talk about the treatment options that are offered to females with FSH and LH deficiency, these patients, they usually are given conjugated estrogen, which could be in the form of pills or it could be in the form of injections. And then we can also give these patients progesterone. And then lastly, there are also these skin patches that are the estradiol skin patches. So giving these patients estrogen, progesterone, and estradiol have noticed that giving these patients all of these drugs have increased the FSH and LH level and ultimately getting rid of the deficiency. And then if we have patients with growth hormone deficiency, specifically somatotropin has shown drastic effects, and it is usually the recombinant human growth hormone that is given in the form of somatotropin. This is usually given in the starting dose of 0.1 to 0.3 milligram per day for example, a patient which is a male and he is weighing 70 kilograms. And the maintenance dose then ultimately is around 0.3 to 0.6 milligram per day. And lastly, if we talk about the vasopressin deficiency causes, which is the ADH deficiency, it can be compensated with the intranasal desmopressin. So desmopressin is an antagonist that helps in increasing the vasopressin. So if we talk about the level of hydrocortisone, if we talk about the specific amount of hydrocortisone that is usually given, it's around 20 to 30 milligram per day, and this has shown drastic effects on patients with any sort of ACTH deficiency. So these are the list of drugs that are given to patients with different level of deficiency, whether it's the ACTH deficiency, thyroid deficiency, or the growth hormone deficiency. So these are the list of drugs that are offered to our patients on a daily basis. So now this brings us to the end of our lecture. So if we talk about the overview of our lecture today, we've talked about hypopituitarism. What is the exact definition of hypopituitarism? Like I mentioned, that it is the partial or complete deficiency of pituitary hormones, whether it's the anterior lobe or the posterior lobe. And then we've talked about the different level of causes and what are the etiological factors that are involved in the causing hypopituitarism. And then we've talked about the different clinical features. We've seen a list of clinical features regarding each and every disease state and each and every etiological factor, such as patients with Sheehan syndrome, with Suman syndrome, and then if a patient is having panhypopituitarism, what are the different clinical features that that a patient presents with in the outpatient department. And then we've seen the different diagnostic features that we can diagnose a patient with. We've seen that there are a list of etiological tests that are done to see the etiological factors. And then we've seen the hormonal tests that are done for these patients. And then ultimately, we have talked about the treatment of hypopituitarism according to the level of the deficiency of the hormone. As you all know, the pituitary gland secretes a lot of different hormones, so we can treat these patients on the basis of the each and every hormone that is deficient. So that's all from our lecture today. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.